So I'm Aron Taylor-Smith. I am one of the British touring car drivers for Team Hard in the brand new CUPRA Leon. I'm here today at the team's HQ just to kind of show some of the differences between the road going CUPRA Leon, and then we'll go through some of the differences with the BTCC car as well. First and foremost, when you sit into this, I think it's actually just a really nice cockpit in general. I really like even the seating positions. Like you'll see when we go through the touring car, it's so different. We sit a lot further back. We even sit a little bit more central in it for our center of gravity to make the cars that little bit quicker. And a few little features that are a little bit different. Obviously, when you look in here, it's so polished, it's immaculate. Where in the touring car, everything gets stripped out. So every little feature and accessory is removed to save weight. Probably one of the only things that you will notice that goes from the road car into the race car is the physical dash. It does get flocked, so it doesn't have it's more of a velvety finish to it. But everything else gets completely gutted for weight saving. I think one of the cool features that I actually like of this is obviously it's push start. So it's similar to our touring car. So that will come on. A cool little function that we don't have in the touring car is the CUPRA mode itself. So when you go through your driver profiles, there's kind of a CUPRA, Sport and Comfort. And obviously, like with the CUPRA name, everything is really around performance. So that's where the British Touring Car program links in really nicely with it. It is the pinnacle of British motorsport. So having the backing and the performance of what the CUPRA name is quite a nice feat to have. A few other really cool features that are different to our touring car is the gear paddles here. So this is obviously a little bit more kind of a driver comfort focus in the road going version, where in our British touring car it's a sequential gearbox. So you'll see a physical gear lever as opposed to having it on the steering wheel itself. Steering wheel, there is in the touring car, it's really just all around performance. So none of these buttons and dials from like radio to voice control, none of that are obviously in the touring car. In the touring car itself, it's really just about, say, engine mapping. There is a button to talk back to our engineers in the pits and whatnot, because we've in-car radios. So we'll kind of go through that and you'll get to see a little bit more of what's different. But unfortunately, we don't have the comfort of kind of electric seats or anything like that. One feature we do have in it though, like with today with our window being open, is we do have electric windows in the touring car, which is a real I know it sounds so basic, but it's a real luxury to be able to actually get some air in and out of the car, especially on like cool down laps. Yeah, and I think if I could have the inside of it to look a little bit more like this, it would be quite a luxury. So that kind of wraps up the kind of review of the inside of the road going CUPRA. So now we're going to flip across, jump into the touring car, and you can kind of see the difference between the two. Alright, so obviously now you can see that we're sat inside the CUPRA Leon. You'll probably hear some cars pending around on the track. So we're at Brands Hatch just to continue with testing and developing. So I wanted to show you kind of the significant differences between the CUPRA Leon road car and our CUPRA BTCC. So one of the first things that you'll notice are there's a lot more safety precautions. So there's a netting here to protect us drivers. We have one up on this side when we're out on track, and that gets put in place just before we go out. So it's really geared towards more of a safety aspect. Even if you look at this seat, it is a multiple point harness. We sit a lot further back in the car and towards the middle. So that's to do a lot more with our center of gravity. So we're trying to keep the weight as low as possible in the car to generate as much mid-corner grip. Having a look through the car, another big significant difference is you'll probably see here is our gearbox. So that's a sequential gearbox is what we use. So what the difference with that is, we just pull it to go up the gears and knock it forward to go down the gears. So we actually don't use the clutch for upshifts or downshifts. We actually only use that when we're sat in the physical pits to get out or for race starts. On the steering wheel itself, we have a lot more at our disposal than you'll normally see in your road car. So we have different engine maps here. We can run anything really up to like 5 different maps normally with a cool down map. So that will be dictated based on like tire degradation if you want to reduce wheel spin and things like that. In terms of driver aids, we don't have ABS, which you have in your road car, or we don't have traction control. So that's all done through the feel of the pedals. We do have a few different controls to help. We have what's called our brake bias. So that dictates how much brake percentage goes to the front of the car or the rear of the car. So when the tires are new, they'll be able to sustain a lot more front brake pressure. When they start to drop off, you need to put it towards the rear so it doesn't lock the fronts. So there's a lot that a driver can control inside it, but you'll notice there are some similarities between the CUPRA, the road going, and the BTCC car. The dash is the same, so that comes straight out of the road car. Yes, it does get flocked in this different material, but that's very similar. The shell itself, you'll see we have a really big roll cage in this, which isn't in the road car. Again, that's for driver safety and also the rigidity of the actual chassis. So there are the significant differences. We're going to get back out on track now and continuing testing and developing what will hopefully be a race and championship winning CUPRA.